Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Book of Brianna, a podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brianna Whiteside. I'm so excited to welcome you to a brand new month. We are in March. If January and February has taught us anything, it is that this year it's not going to be a long year. These days are moving quickly, and I think we should take our cues from the speed of the days because things feel a little sped up. Am I the only one who feels that way, that things feel a little sped up? Because they do. And since we're in the last month of Q1, I want to invite you to reflect on your last 2 months. Did you do what you said you were going to do? How do you feel about what you've gotten done? How do you feel about you? How do you feel about God? All of these things matter, and you need to reflect on your life and the days that you've already, went through, because if you don't account for those days, those feelings, those thoughts, then you may have a repeat month if your months weren't that great, or you may threaten to kind of stagnate this month. And that's not what I want you to do. I always want my viewers to move forward. This is what this channel is about. It's about forward progression. We don't do no stagnation over here. We don't need no stagnation. We want to continue to move in the direction that God would have us move. And so, y'all, I say all that to say, welcome to March. If you're checking out my, new brim. This is actually a new hat from my favorite hat brand, Gigi Pip. This baby is called the Teddy, and it is in a size 61. I will be sure to link that link in my show notes so that you can go ahead and grab you this Teddy, because Western is in right now. And you don't want to miss it. And so I love Teddy. The reason why I get it in a 61, which is the largest size, because y'all know I got natural hair. So I need the hat to accommodate my natural hair when it's braided back in a set it off braids, the wig, and the hat. So let me know, are you going to go ahead and order a Western hat this summer? Because they give it. I can't wait to start putting together my Western outfits. So I wanted to just debut this new hat that I have because I think it's so cute. And I never saw myself as a Western girly, but here I am. Welcome to the new month. So this month we're focusing on stewardship. Now, if you notice, I've been trying to keep us on one topic all month and look at it from different ways. And so we're going to talk about stewardship this month. Last month we talked about becoming unstoppable. And I think it's important to kind of manage the things that we have. Now, that gets a little difficult, right? Because I am encouraging you to look to the future. I am encouraging you to move forward, but I don't want to encourage you to neglect what is directly in front of you. If you don't manage what you have now, you will lose it trying to get to the next place. And this is what trips a lot of people up. We kind of stop managing and maintaining the right now relationships, the right now job, the right now resources in hopes of a better future. And that is bad behavior. We got to get that together. We have to kind of learn how to manage both well. And so because we're talking about stewardship this month, I thought it was important that we start with managing your mind. Your mind, your mental. And look, I'm just pointing here. This ain't your mind. Your mind is up here somewhere. I pointed to my head, my brain. Your mind. And I want to talk about mental health. I want to actually start this conversation by telling you a story. You've heard this story a few times now, maybe. Not if you're new though. But I want to contextualize the story because it matters. I want to tell you about what sent me to therapy back in 2020. And it wasn't the pandemic. Okay. Pandemic didn't send me to therapy. Actually getting cheated on by my then boyfriend sent me to therapy. Yes. Yes. Y'all, you can do things God's way. You can do everything you know to do. You can try to uphold righteousness, and you can try to be the best person in any relationship, but that don't mean if this person decides that they're going to cheat on you, they're going to cheat on you. And this is something that was a hard lesson that I had to learn. So let's get into the quick story time. It's funny now, It wasn't funny then, but I want to talk about the thing that led me into really realizing that I wasn't okay, that I was maybe on the verge of a slight mental breakdown, and how I began to manage and rebuild my life since then. And started dating this dude who slides in my DM in 2019. Not really my type for real, but I'm trying to give him a chance because I'm the single friend. My friends are like, Bree, you may be the drama. You need to give somebody a chance. You ain't been in a relationship since undergrad for real, you know, because I was on and off with my then boyfriend. And, you know, you probably just being too picky. Okay. They may be right. I could be the drama. I am not against saying, Bree, you probably tripping. Okay? So I give this dude a chance. He slides in my DM around June. We meet physically in August. He flies to Vegas and things progress from there. As he's in Vegas, you know, we're talking, we're meeting for the first time. He's like, hey, you know, you want to be my woman type situation. I'm hesitant, y'all. When he asked me to be his girl, I'm hesitant because something within me was just kind of like, don't do it. And I've since learned that something was actually the Holy Ghost, like, chill out. But because I was like, this is probably you're probably tripping, Brianna, I went ahead and moved forward and did it anyway. So when he asked me to be his woman, I was just like, okay, let's try it. And that I should have known. If I'm saying let's try it, that means that I'm hesitant and I don't really know about you. And I shouldn't have done it, okay? So we do let's try it. Okay. Let's try it turns into a whole mess. We get together in August, okay? We're long distance. He knows we're long distance. But before all of the cheating happens, we have a conversation. And the conversation we had was about keeping in touch with your exes. I am not someone who keeps in touch with her ex because I think that's open doors. That's keeping doors open. And if you are keeping an open door, at some point you're gonna walk through that door if you have a weak moment. And this is what I mean. Say for instance you have a hard day and you and your ex are just friends, but you're in a relationship with Joe and you mad and your ex happen to text you on the right day and y'all start reminiscing, and there's a chance that you could end up in the bed with that ex. Maybe not that first time, but over time, you still have that soul tie. You still have that connection. Feelings don't always die. Sometimes they just get buried. I try not to create a situation for my new guy to have any questions about why you're still keeping in touch with your exes. I don't even want that smoke. We're going to have enough smoke with each other. I don't want to go down that route with you, men of God. So I'm going to go ahead and just handle it. So he and I had this conversation. I thought we had an understanding, y'all. I'm the only one who had the understanding. You know what I mean? Fast forward to November. He's like, hey, I want you to come spend Thanksgiving with my family. This is my first time spending Thanksgiving with somebody's family. I'm like, we finally done made it. You mean the family on a special holiday that matters, woo, woo, woo. And so I go to spend the holiday with his family. Y'all, I'm in the kitchen trying to learn how to cook this man's favorite cake because his mom's a stay-at-home wife, right? She's a housewife. She cooks, she cleans, she does all things. I loved his mama. I'm trying to learn how to make his favorite cake from scratch. I'm trying to hold the bowl. My hand is weird. The blender is weird. It was a whole situation. But I'm bonding with the family. I loved his family. His family loved me. The reason why I'm telling you that I was in his family's house for Thanksgiving is because this is when the emotional affair started with the girl. And the reason why I bring that up is because I'm in your family house and we spending Thanksgiving together and you're starting to DM this other girl, flirting with her on Instagram. Now, this chick who he was DMing, this was someone who he was talking to prior to me, so probably earlier that year, right? So it was just a situationship, nothing serious at the time. They, you know, hooked up a few times, but you know, wasn't anything serious. So I'm in your mama house, in your mama's kitchen, trying to learn how to cook for you, and you are flirting with another woman, telling her how beautiful she looks, and then has started to lead her to believe that he and I were no longer together. I had to insert this point, y'all. He and I were very much together, and we were seeing each other every month. Every month. So we were only together 6 months, and we were seeing each other every month. It was a very intentional situation. So back to the story. we spend Christmas with my family. So I fly in Christmas Eve and we're doing ugly Christmas sweaters. And something within me, I don't know where it came from. It was just probably like the Holy Ghost. But I blurted out, I don't know if you'll cheat on me or not. I had no reason to say this. That blurt out created an issue. Bree, you're just being insecure, blah, 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 blah. And he was probably right. I'm like, you don't have any proof. You got that woman's intuition, but you don't have any proof. So I had to eat crow, as my grandfather used to say, and apologize. So caused this big old ruckus. I'm up here trying to rectify the situation. I'm trying to, put a band-aid over it, and he ain't really having it. Okay, cool. But y'all, he really was starting to cheat on me. And I really think that was that moment where God was like, she's finna find out because I'm about to reveal it to her. You need to stop doing what you're doing. Okay, so now we in December. January, he starts school. So he's working 2 jobs. He starts school. The routine is broken up. We're starting to fight a little bit more because he doesn't have a lot of time. But I'm also noticing at the same time that we're not connecting at all. You're not making any time for me. And I'm pressing the issue. Like I'm about to turn up on this person. And he's like, I'm just tired. I got limited time, I don't got a lot of time. I'm tired. I'm doing all this other stuff. Okay, let me back up. You probably right. But we're still tense. I still got this knowing that you probably cheating on me. We tense, we're fighting, we're going back and forth. I'm going to ease up off of it. So let's fast forward to February when he actually does physically sleep with the lady. Y'all, this is Super Bowl Sunday. I said, what you got going on today? He's like, nothing much. I'm just going to go ahead and chill and just watch the game. All right, cool. I ain't gonna bother you. Enjoy your Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday in peace. I had some academic stuff I need to go ahead and take care of. We just went ahead and I said, I'll talk to you later. Well, later never came. I called him when I was done. He didn't answer. I didn't think nothing of it. Maybe he went to sleep. Maybe he went to a party. I don't know. I'm gonna let you breathe. Y'all, he was with the girl. He was with the girl on Super Bowl Sunday. They were together in his house in pajamas. And everybody like, Brianna, what you mean? How you know they was in pajamas? Because I got screenshots. Got receipts. Because I talked to the lady. And I don't know dummy, but I, wanted to know. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. The lady who he led to believe that we were no longer together, she's over there and, they kikiing and booed up and all these other things. And the story that I heard from her was that they had done what they did. They were asleep. The phone was going off, was ringing. She thought it was her phone. She picked it up and looked at it, but she said she saw me on a screensaver. I don't really believe that story. I believe she was trying to go through his phone, saw something she didn't want to see, maybe me on a screensaver or whatever the case may be, and they get into it. She storms off and she starts to blackmail him. She starts to blackmail him for about 2 weeks. I'ma tell her, I know who your girlfriend is. So she do know who his girlfriend is, y'all. And this is how she knows. This girl was my cousin's best friend on my daddy's side. I'm gonna say it again. The girl he was messing with, the girl he cheated on me with, was my cousin's best friend on my daddy's side. Now, my cousin doesn't live in Chicago anymore. She lives down the south. But the girl, her best friend, lived in Chicago. The white sides are in Chicago. The girl knew who I was. She was very click tight with my family. This wasn't a secret. She bid her time to tell him because, one, she wanted him. She wanted to be with him. And I know she really wanted to be with him because from the discussion that she and I had after the fact, I could tell she had these feelings for him in a way that I didn't. And she really wanted it to work. And I felt so sorry for her and him. Fast forward, he doesn't do something that she wants him to do. And y'all, she says, I'm going to tell him. He tired of being blackmailed. He like, I don't care. Tell her. She told me. She told me. Baby, she calls my cousin. And my cousin hits me up. That's my cousin. My cousin hits me up. She's like, hey, Bree, I have something I want to talk to you about your boyfriend. And I'm thinking to myself, Me and this cousin we're not too close, so you should know that I have a boyfriend. I'm like, who is my boyfriend? She said his name, and I said, oh, you do know I have a boyfriend. And no woman wants to hear, I gotta tell you something about your man. What you mean you got something to tell me about my man, my man, my man? What do you mean? I found out what she meant. Y'all, she told me that they had been messing around for a few months. They had slept together. They said, well, I can't just bring this to him. So I need you to ask for some receipts, some text messages, threads, pictures. I need something. Girl sends it to her and she sends it to me. Now, when you DM somebody on Instagram, you know, you can remove your messages. She will remove some of her messages, but just by his reply, I knew what the conversation, I got the gist of the conversation. The screenshots alleged that they had slept together a few times. More than this one time I knew about. I'm saying, okay, ask her, can I call her? Now, y'all, I'm from Chicago, but I'm not on no dummy. I'm not gonna come up to you as a woman. My beef is not with you. Though you knew who I was and you bid your time and you set him up, my beef's still not with you. My beef is with him because we were together. I call him. So the girl said I can call her. My cousin sends me the number. Cool. I'll call him. He don't answer. He texts me, hey, in a meeting, you know, what's going on? Is everything okay? I said, who is such and such, and what do you have to tell me about her? So this man responds, let me explain. What do you mean? There should not be anything for you to explain. You should not even have an explanation. You shouldn't even know who this girl is. Because in the conversation, right, that we had prior to this situation, I thought we had an agreement that we wouldn't keep in touch with our exes. I said, call me when you get a chance. This man ain't called me for 6 hours. In the meantime, I'll call her. Call her, get on the phone with her, hey, sorry, we gotta have this conversation. Because I am a woman and I am a lady and I'm not gonna turn up with you because it's not worth it to me, right? I'm going to walk out of this thing with dignity and class. So I said from August to this moment in February that she and I were having a conversation. Oh, did we have a conversation in March? I think we had the conversation in March. I said from this time to this time, this is how long we've been together. What has been the extent of you all's relationship? So first of all, she's so apologetic. She didn't know, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I don't want to hear that. You knew. But tell me. So she starts to tell me like backstory, like their first interaction with each other before he knew me. And I was just kind of listening to her because I could tell this girl loved everything about this man. And this is where we get into this conversation about settling here. Because though my friends were encouraging me to, you know, date this person, give this person a chance, there was a part of me that felt like I was settling. There was a part of me that didn't fully buy in, but I was like, maybe you tripping. Needless to say, I said, I'll never settle again. We had this conversation and she tells me, and I said, how many times have y'all been intimate with one another? She tells me the number of times they have. And, you know, I said, well, you all are free to be with each other. And I said, I'm sorry, we have to have this conversation. I wish you the best of luck. We get off the phone. I'm waiting for him. I'm 38 hot, y'all. Like, I'm really, really mad because we had already, and this is before the world shuts down, we had already had plans to go to Barbados with my family. My family had gifted me a cruise for my graduation. And so we had plans to go to the cruise. Like, we were really planning this thing out because he was driving the relationship. So he calls me finally. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, it was selfish. And I said, well, why did you do it? Why did you do it? And he just was like, basically, she was having sex. She was willing to sleep with me. That's why I did. I didn't have no other reason to do it just because she wanted to sleep with me and I didn't want to pass it up. And I said, all right. I said, well, this over. I don't think I could do this. And he's like, please. And I'm like, I'm gonna get you back. And this is when I knew I was in dangerous territory. I am not a revengeful person. I am not someone who's gonna try to even the score and get you back, get my lick back. When I said I'm gonna get you back, I knew I was in trouble. I knew, girl, you finna spiral because your ego is hurt. You're embarrassed because it's connected to your family. You're hurt. You feel disrespected because you felt like you were settling anyway. Like, how dare you? Like, it was all this pride mixed up with hurt and ego and all these things. And I'm like, you are about to do something dangerous. You need to go to therapy. Up until this point, I really wasn't feeling therapy. You know how we are in communities of color. You don't need no therapy. Go pray about it. Go sit down. Go, whatever. You'll be fine. No, I was in trouble. I needed Jesus and therapy. I was at a breaking point. And I was already starting to realize that I needed to stop running from so many things. And this has meant that, you can't keep achieving over trauma. Because that used to be my coping mechanism. If I get my feelings hurt, I'm going to go succeed at something. I'm going to go get another award. You can't do that. You about to have to sit down and work through your disappointment, your pain, your childhood trauma, the things that you've allowed to happen to you. Like, you are about to have to deal with that, sis. And your girl was not fully ready for that journey. But I knew, if you don't go take care of this now, you're going to the street. You're about to run through all of these men because you hurt. And that's not going to solve anything. You're going to create victims. So I did what I had to do. I put on my big girl drawers. And I went to therapy. I got a male therapist, actually. I didn't need anyone to kind of, I don't know what I want to say, but I didn't need them to do that. I didn't need a woman to kind of like just validate me. I wanted a different perspective, and I wanted to change. I wanted to better. I wanted to be well. And there is a lot of responsibility when you get well. Like, healing hurts. I know we like to romanticize healing, but it really does hurt, right? There's a lot of responsibility when you get well as well. And so I get in this therapy session and I realize just how locked down mentally and emotionally I've been. Yeah, I'm succeeding. Yeah, I look good. Yeah, I'm great on paper, but emotionally, mentally, toe up. I didn't even have the word for the range of emotions that were cropping up. I didn't really know grief. I knew anger. I knew sadness. I knew happiness. I knew 3. I didn't know any other emotion. I didn't have language. I was bound. I was shut down. I was just, I was in a bad place, and I didn't realize I was in a bad place because I had been operating from that place for so long. And because it wasn't affecting anything, I was like, I'm good. But you can still be dangerously operating and not be at full capacity. Like, your heart cannot be beating at its full capacity, and you could still be living, and then suddenly you're in trouble. So I get in therapy. It's ugly. I want to quit. Ooh. Every week trying to trust, trying to articulate what I've been feeling and carrying for so long in my mind and my body and my spirit and my heart, and trying to like pray over and, fast over and get over. Like, I had to deal with that. And I was just like, how have you been living this long and you haven't been okay? You're not okay. And you've been showing up in the world and no one has even noticed that you're not okay. Because you don't look like someone who's not okay. But I wasn't okay. And I wasn't sound. And I wasn't who I thought I was. And me going to therapy and me starting to do all this mental work, and I'm still in therapy. I don't need it as much now, but I'm still there for maintenance. And I'm going through and I'm realizing, you're going to have to unbecome so many things. You're going to have to take off the armor that you put on to make it out of the hood, that you put on to survive. You're about to have to unravel. It was like, y'all know, like a winding sheet. You wind the sheet, you keep winding it, and when you finally let it go, that thing spin out of control. That's exactly what was happening to me in therapy. And I was afraid, and I was unprepared, and I was frightened, and it took me back to this childlike state, and I had to like validate the childhood experience, but also call in the woman within myself to show up as well, to help the young girl let go so that the woman could take over. Like that, it was a lot of mental gymnastics happening, and you know, it was a hard situation that landed me there. It was a hard situation because let me tell y'all, when I started getting my mind together, my money followed. When I started getting my mind together, my health followed. Even in the midst of adversity, the world is shut down. We don't know what's going on. I began to blossom. I began to bloom. I began to thrive because I realized you have a choice. You can play the blame game and say you're going to do all these things because these such and such did this stuff to you. Or you can take ownership. No, it's not your fault that this happened to you, but it did. Now it's your responsibility to handle it. You can take ownership and say, okay, now you're going to have to put your big girl panties on and you're going to have to manage this moment in this season. And it sucked and it hurt and I didn't understand and I cried so much, but that season was good for me. It didn't feel good, but it was good for me because it led me to this moment right here. It led me to see myself more clearly, trust what I knew, and also trust the God in me. It forced me to become a better version of myself. And I didn't even know I needed to be better. I didn't know. I thought I was doing good. But I wasn't. I wasn't doing good. I was actually just not doing good at all. I was coasting. I was still in survival mode. And it was through getting my mind together that I, even in this season, have started to learn how to become more relaxed. A relaxed woman. A woman who's not anxious, full of anxiety, running from pillar to post, trying to make it, I gotta do it in a frenzy. Nah. I've learned how to relax a little bit. Lean back into the arms of a loving father. And lean back into myself and know like, yeah, that happened. And that sucked. You get some great content out of it. But you also healed. You healed and you made a better decision. And that's what's important here. What's important here is that we do get better. What's important here is that we, learn from the things that we've gone through. We decide not to let these things harm or hurt us. And we allow them to help us become better. That was a stepping stone. I knew I would get over it in 2020 when that junk happened. And it took me a year almost to fully recover from it. And generally when if something happens relationally, I take a step back, sit on down, breathe, sit this one out. Since you done got your feelings hurt, go ahead and chill. But that is usually what I end up doing. And I did that. I did my work. I did my healing. And I came out on the other side. And I came out better. I came out thriving. And, though that experience was hard and I didn't feel like I deserved it and I didn't want to walk through it, I had to remind myself that you have done hard things your entire life. And this one sucked, right? Because you thought you was probably going to get out of the street. You were going to finally be able to be married to someone, though you wasn't fully convinced. Like as time went on, I still at the time I thought I was the problem. I was the hang up, but we just weren't a good fit for each other. But I used that. I used that experience as strength for the journey. And that's what sent me to therapy. And I realize the importance of therapy. If you need a therapist, I want to encourage you to get one. So many people feel like they don't need a therapist or don't need anyone to hear you out. And sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do need someone who is unbiased to kind of talk things through and start to unpack things with that, is going to show up the next day because you're paying them. You know what I mean? Like, that's their commitment. But I went to therapy. I'm still in therapy. I'm an advocate of Jesus in therapy. And I see this as stewarding my mental health. So yes, I still pray. Yes, I still fast. Yes, I do all of the things, but therapists are supplemental as well. So when you have done the thing, your primary things, you may need supplemental materials, supplemental help. There's nothing wrong with that. We take vitamin supplements all the time because you're still losing something. You still need your blind spots covered. And yeah, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your mind this month, your emotions, all of these things, because they do matter. Like, there's nothing random about you. There's nothing random about your life. And I just want us to be good stewards. We must be good stewards of our minds, because if we're not good stewards of our minds, everything else is going to fall apart. When you're not mentally okay, everything else falls apart. You can't do anything without being in your right mind. And so my encouragement and my admonishment to you, if you need help, get help. If you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. It may not be a therapist. It may be a coach. You may just need some encouragement. You may need, someone to help you pull you out of this thing, or help you see what you don't see, or, show you something else, or give you some advice. Do that. And don't think of it as a burden. Think of it as an investment. The best investment that I could have made in my life was to go to therapy. Yes, that's the best investment, to go to therapy. Because y'all, we kind of drop that one sometimes. And this doesn't mean that you need to be in therapy your entire life. But if you in a hard season, therapy has gotten me out of a lot of hard seasons. And my seasons weren't 3 months. Sometimes my seasons last a year and a half. A year and a half of consistent pain, struggle, hardship. What you gonna do? You need someone to talk to. You do. Who you on? You can't tell on nobody. You can't tell on God. Who gonna beat them up? So you need that extra support, and that's what I think about therapy. Extra support. So in addition to your work, in addition to your community, in addition to whatever else you may be doing to kind of maintain yourself, consider therapy if you need it. I didn't think I needed it until I needed it. And I realized that, yeah, you needed it. And there may be another time that I do need it. It's an investment. You go through stuff. You're not as smart. And I know some people like to say, well, Jesus paid it all and Jesus could take care of it. He did. But if he felt that that's all you needed in your human experience, why did he give us therapists? Why did he give us doctors? Why did he give us teachers? You know what I mean? Like, he's given us these things because these people are vessels to help. So I don't want you to get super religious, because I know y'all like to do that sometimes. I don't want you to get super religious because you're still struggling. If you ain't believing in yourself, can't believe in yourself after you read your Bible, after people encourage you, what do you think? There's something internal going on here that you may need a therapist to help you unpack. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about them TikTok therapists. I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I wanted to start this month off truthful, in the vein of transparency, and say, y'all, go on to therapy if you need it. Ain't no shade, ain't no shame. I won't shame you. Get what you need. Get the help you need. I want you to be well. My priority, my goal, my hope for you is wellness, however that may seem. I hope this has encouraged you. I hope this has taught you something. I hope this has helped you. If it has, please like the video. Y'all, can we please like these videos? I know it doesn't seem like much, but it really does help my channel in the algorithm. It really does. Like, just like it, please. If you like the work that I do, this is how you can show me, by liking the video. And if you want to go the extra route, go ahead and share it. I have no problem with you sharing it. But as always, I will talk to you soon in another installment of the Book of Brianna, a podcast. Bye.